Everyone knows that having a big vocabulary is important for speaking English well, and of course for succeeding at the IELTS. But how do you learn so many words? What are the best ways to study vocabulary? In today's video, I'm going to tell you how to improve your English vocabulary for IELTS. The first idea is to carry a notebook. This is really important. When you're going about your daily life, maybe you'll come across a word that is useful for you. It's really important to write this down. And it doesn't have to be a notebook. Of course, you can use your phone. You can type into the notepad function there. But it is better, I think, to use paper and pen. Many scientific studies show that by writing things down, we can help remember them better. Importantly, we can also come back to this information later and study it again. This is called revising. Before an exam or before we write an essay, sometimes it's useful to look at the vocabulary we tried to remember and to review it. Again, this sort of repetition can help us to commit the vocabulary to our long-term memory. These days, we always Google things. Google has even become a verb, like I just used it there. When you want to know what something means, or you want to find out information about something, you go on Google and you search for web pages about it. We Google something. We can, of course, Google vocabulary. We can Google a word to find out its definition. But another way that we can use Google is just to see how the word is used. A really great idea is to go on Google News and check how professional writers use this word every day. On Google News, you'll also see information about IELTS topics like climate change and technology and sports, and we can see how a word of vocabulary may be used in these contexts and maybe pick up a few ideas that we can use in our IELTS essays as well. Learning language in collocations is one of the most important things about getting new vocabulary. What do I mean by collocation? That's when we take our word of vocabulary and we take another word that goes together with it. Let's say we're using the word agree. I'm sure you know what agree means, but how do we use it in a sentence? Well, I can agree with someone or agree with something. I can agree to something. I can agree on something. These three collocations have slightly different meanings, and these are good examples of collocations that are worth remembering. Not just the word agree, but agree with, agree to, agree on. So when you're studying new language, you should be writing down in your notebook not just one word, but groups of words. Collocations. If you really want to remember your new vocabulary, you need to use it. You should try to put it into your everyday conversations, or you should try writing it in an essay or a social media post or a blog. You've got to be using it at least a few times in the week after learning it. If you don't use your new language, it's very easy to forget it. Once you start bringing it into your conversations or your writing, you'll find it will stick in your head a lot easier. One final note. When thinking about vocabulary, remember it's not helpful to know thousands and thousands of words unless you can use them. Now, when you're producing language for the IELTS exam, we need to have a good basic grasp of grammar. Now, we need to think in terms of collocations, and we need to think in terms of sentences, not just single words. So don't go away and study a huge list of 1,000 words thinking that this will get you a high score. We need to take a smart approach to learning vocabulary. Don't just think you can learn as many words as possible. And don't trust those videos that tell you there are a few magical IELTS words, because there aren't.